What's up, guys? Welcome to the show this week. We're doing it on Tuesday today. I'm going to be playing around with the days, trying to get the best time to do it. But today it's Tuesday, new show, and we're going to jump right in always with the question of the week. I put it out on Facebook. I was curious, what's something you learned in school that you've always remembered but never used? I mean, we all went to school, I think, most of us. Anyway, we went to school and we were taught all these various things, and a lot of that stuff doesn't come up in the real world. So I wanted to know what were some examples of those things. And we got some pretty good responses. And yes, most of these I've never, actually none of these I've ever used. So one of the comments was y equals mx plus b, which I still have no idea what that is. I know it's some sort of algebra formula. I'm not entirely sure, but I've never used it. Y equals mx plus b has never come up in my day-to-day life. Another comment that was King Hector died by drinking chocolate milk. No idea what that meant. I was looking at it and I'm like, I don't even know what those words mean. I don't know who King Hector is. But apparently it was the metric conversion chart. It's a, what are those things called? Where it's like you come up with a word for the letters, like each one of these words means something different. Like I forget what those things are called. Probably learned that in school, and today was probably the first time I've ever needed to use it. But apparently King Hector died drinking chocolate milk is some sort of hint, clue, reminder to figure out the metric conversion chart. Still don't know what it is. And we had some other ones along that lines. My very extravagant mother just sat upon 9 pizzas, which I actually did remember when I read that. Mavimshpa. I picked that up from Saved by the Bell. But that's the planets in order. Obviously, Mercury. Where'd he go? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. So Pluto's not a planet anymore, so they can't even teach that. So I don't know what they teach that. I don't know how much that's changed since there's no P at the end of it now. But another person, commented along those same lines. My very eager mother just served us 9 pickles or pizzas. Either way, it's the same thing. It's like, you don't need that unless you're on some sort of quiz show. Like, I've never needed to name the planets in order. Okay. Another one was Egyptian math is apparently something that someone was taught in college. I actually went to the same college as this person, and I commented when they told me what it was and where they learned it. I was like, oh, that makes sense because I didn't go to class when I was at this college, so I don't know what they were teaching. And they posted a picture of it. I'm going to put that right here. Bam, bam. See, this is where editing comes in, and I'll have the Egyptian numbers chart right here so you can look at that and realize what was the purpose of anybody learning that. And you can comment about the symbol for 10,000. I know you will. I know that's going to happen. So go ahead and put that in the comments, because I know it's coming, because I had the exact same thought. But Egyptian math was apparently something that someone was taught in school. The preamble to the Constitution. I know the Constitution is a big thing. It's a massive document. It's very important to our country here in America, and we argue about amendments and changes. But there is a preamble to it, and I don't know exactly what it is. It's just sort of an introduction, but apparently somebody had to learn it and I guess write it out for their test. And obviously that's something that's never been useful whatsoever. Obviously, we learned about another one was Paul Revere's ride. You know, Paul Revere riding through to let everybody know the British are coming. The British are coming. We all learned that, and I, I agree. I've never needed to know that. Another one was how to sing "Happy Birthday" in Spanish, and they even said like, but truth be told, I've actually used it a time or two. Like, you know, Feliz cumpleaños. It happens. We throw some things out there. We throw some Spanish out there. I guess that might be the closest thing that you would actually use, but I've never, you know, I learned Spanish words and I, to this day, haven't used most of them. Uh, we got how to use a protractor. Uh, is it protractor, however you pronounce it. The little loopy thing that you measure and use. You can measure uh, angles and such things with to figure out triangles and all that stuff. I've never once used that since I took geometry in the 10th grade. Hasn't happened. So that, you know. Another one, this is kind of a long comment, but it's very true. Eli Whitney created the cotton gin. I swear this information was in our curriculum every year from like second grade all the way to 12th. And I've often wondered how this fact made the cut as being necessary, but more in-depth classes on the responsibilities of adulthood did not. Whew. Yeah, I mean, I've never needed to know that Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin, and even that is, you can start to get into some debates about that of whether he actually did or not. But I've never needed to know that he invented the cotton gin. But there's a lot of things that they probably could have taught us that they didn't, like, you know, how to pay taxes and, you know, things of that nature that actually exist in the real world that they just didn't teach us. They just taught us that Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin, made us memorize the preamble to the Constitution, and sent us on out into the world. But, you know, those are just some of the things that we learned in school that turned out they might not have been as important as some thought. But that is that. We're gonna start to my left. I guess it might. I don't know. Is it your left? I don't know how this. I don't know how this is exactly gonna work when, right? You know, watching the video. But we are still at 20 subscribers here on the YouTube page. Trying to get to 100. So if you haven't already, click that button, hit that subscribe button, and up those numbers. I think when I get to 100, I'm gonna do something a little fun. I haven't figured out exactly what it is. Looks like I got time to get there, but when I get to 100 subscribers, I'll do a little celebration video to commemorate that, and we'll keep it pushing. And then, I don't know, we'll set another goal, maybe 200, maybe 500, depends on how quick this thing starts growing. But right now, 20 subscribers, goal is 100. If you've already subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't, go ahead and do that. Now, this is Puzzle Piece Media. One of the things I like is the puzzles that I have in my house. I may have to do another video about this. I may start doing that, doing videos about the puzzles that I'm putting in the videos. But my lady and her friends do puzzles, and this is a Pixar puzzle. It's got a lot of stuff in here. It's got Lightning McQueen. It's got the cars down here, Mater, you know, Mickey's up here. So we got Cinderella. A lot of stuff. You see the Incredibles. Is that Baymax, I think, from Big Hero 6? Correct me if I'm wrong, but we got Thumper over here from Bambi, the Monsters Inc. guys. It's really cool to see these puzzles come together, and so I like to keep them in the videos and let you look at them. You know, take some time if you want to pause, zoom in, check it out. Like I said, I may start doing some more videos to just show what these puzzles are. That's actually a good idea that I just had. But that's that. Thank you to her for doing the puzzles. Today, I want to talk about a couple of things. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is a new cause that I'm going to start supporting. Uh, I don't have a huge platform at this time, but it could grow, and I want to use that for good. And this is a something that I think is important. This is a story of growth. It's a story of redemption, and hopefully, it could be a story of forgiveness. Is the goal here? This is what's important. And on November 27th, 2016, I believe I have that date right, but these no, I don't have that date right. November 17th, 2016. So almost 7 years ago. Almost 7 full years ago, a young lady who goes by the name Ashley Brew 04, formerly of Twitter, now currently X, but that's her username on that app. She was at a function that, from what I'm told, had an open bar. Okay, so that you know what's the kind of atmosphere she was in. But on this day, she tweeted out some not so kind remarks concerning then University of Tennessee quarterback Josh Dobbs, who goes by the Twitter/X handle of Josh_Dobbs1. He's currently quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. And on this day, she tweeted out the tweet. I don't know, what do you call it now? Do you call it an X? Or I don't know. But either way, she tweeted out something, and to this day, still remains blocked on Twitter/X. It was almost 7 years ago. And so what I want to do is I want to ask, and I want you to ask, if you follow him on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, wherever it is, I want you to reach out to Josh Dobbs and ask him to find it in his heart to unblock Ashley Brew 04. This was a long time ago. I think it's time to let bygones be bygones and grow and move past these types of things and give her a second chance to appear on your timeline. I think it's time. I think it's been long enough. She's suffered enough. The point has been made that you can't just say whatever you want to people. It's not nice, and she knows that. And so that's the cause I'm getting behind is free Ashley Brew 04. Tweet that out, make that your new hashtag to Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs, free Ashley Brew 04. We want to make this happen. It's all in the interest of love and growth and forgiveness, and that's what we need in this country today. So, you see him, do that, tweet that out, let's get that going. We can make this happen. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue doing what I do. I have a new episode of the podcast coming this week, and check that out. You can follow the Puzzle Piece Media podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast. I'm actually going to have this interview will be here on YouTube as well. Whenever I'm able to do that, I will be filming those episodes and bringing them here to the YouTube page as well. So another reason to subscribe and get those numbers up so you can know what's what and what's going on. In the meantime, I got two questions that I, as a podcast host, would like answered at some point. I don't know, the first one especially, I don't know who to ask, but the second one, you may know sitting there and listening and be able to answer it for me. But the first question that I would love to ask somebody in a podcast interview type setting is, I want to know the process or the procedures of what level do you have to get to in the military or the government or whatever to be able to pick up a phone and say, "Get me the president"? Like we've all seen it when like in the movies when the aliens arrive or there's a natural disaster or something crazy is happening, something's blown up, and somebody picks up the phone and they say, "Get me the president." I want to know how do you get to that level? Do they let you know that as you know you've achieved this level, achievement unlocked, you can now get the president? And who's on the other end of that phone? Who's the president getter? Is there any sort of confirmation needed, or is it just uh, like the old bat phone they used to have in the Bruce Wayne manner, where it's got the red phone that Commissioner Gordon would call and it goes straight to him? Is it like they just give you the special number to call that if this phone rings, it's somebody that can get the president? Um, I want to know that. It's just something I'm curious about. I want to know. The second thing I want to know, and if you know the answer to this question, leave it in the comments. I could kind of dunk when I was in high school. Like I never dunked in a game. Wasn't that confident in it, but I could get up high like, oh, I might make it, might not. I was at that level of dunking. Wasn't the most athletic person in the world, but that's neither here nor there. What I want to know is what is the thought process and what goes through the mind of somebody when you're about to dunk on someone. Like, at what point in your dribbling, you're driving, whatever you're doing, you're going to the hole. At what point do you make the decision that I'm dunking this? Regardless of whether this defender jumps, if he jumps, I'm going through him. Because I mean, there's so many ways to dunk a basketball. You can do the flashy between the legs, reverse stuff, all this kind of stuff that I never did. So I want to know what's it like, and at what point do you make that decision? Does that thought say, "Yep, I'm going," regardless? I mean, we've all seen the clips of people getting destroyed, being dunked on, by LeBron or DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin and Michael Jordan. We've all seen them dunk on people. I want to know what that's like. What is that thought process like? So if you know that, leave it in the comments. And that's all I got for you this week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching it. Gonna keep doing this. Hopefully we continue to grow, get those numbers up. I'll have more puzzles, maybe videos on those. But until then, enjoy your time, be safe, and thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week.